We got a very fast-moving story here. Another breaking story. As suspected, the Supreme Court Chief Justice Roberts just issued a stay moments ago, only a few hours after the Trump administration asked him to reverse the decision by a federal judge in Maryland, Judge Paula Zinnes, which required past tense, at least based on the stay order, that Armando Abrego Garcia be gotten out of that jail cell in El Salvador and brought back to the United States, not released, but expatriated back to the United States, because the courts, and every court that has looked at it so far, including the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, has ruled that the Trump administration has violated Abrego Garcia's constitutional rights and his Fifth Amendment rights, and violated an order of protection that he obtained in 2019, never to be sent back to El Salvador. And now we have an administrative stay. I'm going to explain what administrative stay is, the fast-paced briefing schedule that's now been set, and what happens next right here on Legal AF. So many things have happened in this case. Let me just take the plane up a few thousand feet and look down. We've had not one, but two trial court orders, a decision of the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, and a Supreme Court stay order in the last 48 hours in this case. That's how quickly this is moving. Now, what does an administrative stay mean? Remember, what is being blocked is Judge Zinnes' decision after oral argument, after a hearing in which the Department of Justice confessed that they, through the lawyer, Mr. Ruvini, that they had made an administrative error and they had violated a immigration judge's order and put this guy with a green card, a U.S. citizen who's looking for work in an IKEA parking lot of all things, married to a U.S. citizen, and that they put him in violation of that order, knowing about the order, onto the plane anyway to deport him. That did not sit well with Judge Zinnes, who found that that was an illegal act, knowingly done by the Trump administration. She said, "You're not giving me any evidence that you can't get him back." In fact, the president of El Salvador, Mr. Bukele, says they're here on the whim of the United States. We're just an extension of the prison system for the United States. Well, then get him back. So they didn't like that, the Trump administration, so they filed a motion to stay with the trial judge, Judge Zinnes, on Saturday, her second order. You're playing the Donald Trump is insane, criminally insane home game. Second order on Saturday, this past Saturday, she said, "No, I'm not going to stay it. You're not going to win this on appeal. I have jurisdiction." You say I don't. I do. You say I can't review your actions. I can. You say I can only do it through a writ of habeas corpus, but you can't use writ of habeas corpus because he's no longer in Texas. He's in El Salvador. You're wrong about that. You say that you confessed that you violated the law, but I can't do anything about it with my inherent authority. Wrong. Stay denied. So that means they had to run to the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, which sits over Maryland. Fourth Circuit has a full briefing schedule. No oral argument, but full briefing schedule. 3-judge panel of the Fourth Circuit. They rule this morning. I did a hot take on it already. 3-0 in favor to support Judge Zinnes and denying the stay of the Trump administration and to stop the clock for the midnight Monday today return of Mr. Abrego Garcia. Again, just to be clear, return doesn't mean he goes and spends the night at the house with the family with the dinner. Just return to a detention center here in America for America jurisprudence and due process. That's all. Okay? We're not trying to spring him from jail. It's not a get out of jail free card. We're still trying to figure out exactly everything about him, but let's bring him back to the States, huh? Fourth Circuit, in a very strongly written opinion, one of the judges there says it is unconscionable. It shocks the conscience that the Trump administration is taking the position that they can willfully violate an immigration order to protect him from removal to El Salvador, that it is a screw up, and yet not take the position that they can't get him back, or this court doesn't have jurisdiction. Shocked. 3-0 Fourth Circuit. Trump doesn't wait for the 3-0 loss. He knows he's going to lose, so he lobs it into the United States Supreme Court. First stop on the United States Supreme Court train is Chief Justice Roberts, who sits over the Fourth Circuit. He sits over the D.C. Circuit. He sits over the Fourth Circuit. Anything like in Maryland and Virginia, that area in D.C., Roberts. As I said in my earlier hot take, Roberts was going to issue a stay. Why? Just because of the very nature of the order. Zinnes' order is like, tonight, midnight. Well, It's 4:30. We're running out of time here. Not that I think the Trump administration was actually trying to get Abrego Garcia back. It was like a kabuki theater. Oh, here's me. Here's what I would look like calling on the red phone Bukele, the president, if I was really doing it. Yeah, no. Okay. That wasn't happening. So now the fake attempt can stop, I guess is the right way to put it. Now, what does an administrative stay mean? Administrative stay does not mean all hope is lost. It does not mean that Roberts has made up his mind or they've taken a straw poll and they figured out they've got 5 votes to support the Trump administration. Not at all. In fact, all it means, let me just explain. All it means is that as the chief judge or as the judge responsible for this circuit, that Roberts is holding the ring, right? Putting a pin in it, suspended animation for a short amount of time. Administrative stays last anywhere between 1 day and maybe a week, 10 days, to allow for full briefing, some sort of briefing, at the United States Supreme Court level so they can make their ultimate decision about whether on the application they're going to block Zinnis's order. Okay? Whether they're going to find she has jurisdiction, she can't review it, she can't order the remedy that she did. The Trump administration doesn't have the ability, now that they've law floated them to El Salvador, to get them back. Oops, I can't get them back. We'll have to see how they're going to analyze it. That's what a stay is for. And it gets granted a lot, by the way. I'm not that shocked. In fact, I said it was going to happen. Now, it will stay in place at least through tomorrow, because tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time is the deadline set by Justice Roberts for the other side, the Abrego Garcia side, to oppose the application of the Trump administration. Trump administration files a 30-page brief. John Sauer, first-time Solicitor General, just got confirmed. You might remember him. He was the criminal defense lawyer for Donald Trump. That was his claim to fame. Now he's your and my U.S. Solicitor General. Of course, he spends half the time in his brief, as I outlined in my hot take, attacking the federal judiciary. Oh my God, so many injunctions. They must hate Donald Trump. It's unprecedented. And then the other part of the time, he attacks Abrego Garcia and lies about him. The record does not reflect below that Abrego Garcia was a confirmed member of MS-13, a gang in El Salvador. In fact, quite the opposite. There was a record developed by the immigration judge in which it was developed and approved that Abrego Garcia's family owned a successful business and that in order to extort the family, they kidnapped or they threatened Abrego Garcia that if he didn't join the gang, they were going to burn down the restaurant, something like that. That doesn't sound like willing sign up for a gang, does it? But to John Sauer and the administration, who's depraved, they say things like he's the alien. They didn't even use his name. The alien is a member of MS-13. He's not. And he's got a name. His name is Abrego Garcia. And he's got Fifth Amendment rights that you can't get rid of by exporting him to El Salvador. That's the premise. So brief comes in tomorrow at 5 o'clock. That's it. 2 pieces of paper, folks. Application by the Trump administration, brief by Abrego Garcia. And then there's the scramble. It's the scrum in the Supreme Court to see who can count the 5. Where can they get the 5 votes from? It's really not even 5 votes. 4 votes are locked in Donald Trump's back pocket. Kavanaugh, Alito, Thomas, and probably Gorsuch are all ready to overturn Judge Zinnis and give all the power to the president. That's for sure. 3, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Kagan, and Sotomayor are not going to do that. So it's not a fight between the 4 and the 3 to 5. It comes down to Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett. And if you're on the Democratic wing of this country and you're on the democracy side, we got to run the table. We got to get Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett, because this is going to be a 5-4. I would be shocked if it's 6-3. I would fall out of my chair if it's 7-2 or anything higher and hit my head. But I won't hit my head, so don't worry. It's not happening. This is a 5-4. And the question is, can we get Amy Coney Barrett and Justice Roberts over to our side? Yes or no? If we can, Abrego Garcia is going to be back in the United States by some other date. They'll send it back to Judge Zinnis to recalculate her dates. They'll say, give him more time, give him another week or two. 12 o'clock, 5 midnight on Monday is too early, a version of that. Or they're going to block her outright. They're going to side with the other side. Remember, all the right wing of the Supreme Court need is one of the 2, Roberts or Amy Coney Barrett, not both. Now, again, I'll remind you, I'm not trying to pump hope here. Popok's not pumping hope. I'm just telling you, 2 weeks ago, Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett, we got them over there, and they ordered a $2 billion payment. But that's payment. This is like, immigration policy. It rings differently. It vibrates differently with the Supreme Court. I'll follow it all. Come right back here. We're going to get a filing tomorrow night. I'll report on it. We're going to get a ruling a day or two after that. In the meantime, the Abrego Garcia family can cancel the celebration because this guy's not coming back tonight. But whether he comes back at all or later this week or the beginning of next week remains to be seen. I'll follow it right here on Legal AF. I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.